Hi, I'm Sean. This is Colleen. We're pulling it together. We wanted to relate to you an incident that happened last week that was a pretty scary situation for us. It all started when we went to bed knowing that our electricity for the trailer park we were at was going to be turned off between 10 p.m. and 5:30 in the morning. That's not really a problem for us because we have lithium batteries. The bad part happened is when we were awakened at around 3 a.m. with a loud alarm sounding. And then Colleen was the first to wake up, and she rattled me awake. What'd you see then, Colleen?
I came out into the hallway by the bathroom, looked to the living room area, and it was just solid haze, like super thick smog, and like you could taste like basically exhaust in the air. And so I looked down at our hardwired carbon monoxide detector, and it was red, and it was going off. So I was like, Sean, we need to get out of here. We need to get out of here. Uh, we went in the bedroom, threw some clothes on, and uh, grabbed our cat. And Sean threw the front door open, and
So when I opened the door, I heard a generator going, and I noticed it was from a motorhome right next to us. And in this situation, the rigs are pretty close to each other in this particular campground. I would say between 4 and 4.5 feet between our slides, and I could tell the generator sound was coming from fairly low. So I was pretty confident that that's what it was. We later found out that it was a gas-powered generator that had been on for around 10 minutes, and our neighbor was trying to power up his lead acid batteries because they were getting low.
it was an onboard generator. Yeah.
So from that point, we grabbed the cat. Our cat is a travel cat, so we figured he'd be fine in the truck. He seemed to be fine. He didn't seem to be having a lot of ill effects. And we have a little portable litter box for him and everything, and a cage inside the back of the truck. So brought him with us. We were coughing pretty violently. Eyes were burning.
I had a headache. I was nauseous. So we knew we had to go to the ER to get checked out. And I just want to give a shout out to any of the people on Facebook and YouTube that have ever commented when this has happened to other RVers. Many times they're like, you need to go to the ER, you need to go get checked out, you don't know if you have carbon monoxide poisoning, please go get checked out. And so I had always just adopted that into our plan. If this has ever happened to us, like, we will just go get checked out at the ER. And we both had symptoms.
Yes.
And so we decided we were going to go to the ER.
So when all the commotion was happening and we were flinging the door open, the neighbor figured out what was going on. He turned the generator off, so we knew that the rig wouldn't be filling with more gas as we were gone. I told him we were on the way to the ER. We jumped in the truck. Now, that was a decision point that we kind of had to evaluate also, because some people say don't even try to drive yourself, call an ambulance. And I think that under certain circumstances, if you're exposed for longer and say you lose consciousness or you're vomiting
Or you're super dizzy.
or you're real dizzy or you're very lethargic, then I would not try to drive. But I was none of those things, and I still had a pretty clear head. So, and I decided to drive us the 13 minutes or so to the ER in the area. We're in Southern California, pretty highly populated area. We were hoping that we were going to get in a timely fashion, and we lucked out.
Yeah.
So,
He dropped me off at the front of the ER. He went and parked the truck, and I ran in. I must have went through the wrong door, because the security guard came like walking quickly towards me, and he was asking like what's going on, and I told him we were exposed to carbon monoxide, and I have a headache, and I'm dizzy, and stuff. And the triage nurses heard what I was saying, and they came out, had to go through a metal detector, but they came out and took me right in. I said, my husband's on the way, he's just parking the truck. And so we both got triaged immediately. We never went to a waiting room. I never even saw a waiting room. I'm sure there is one. While we were in triage, one of the doctors at the ER had overheard what had happened to us. She came in and said that she was only going to be there for another hour, but she wanted us to have our blood work done. She wanted us on oxygen immediately and to get us to a room right away. Luckily, like my husband said, this is Southern California. I would think that most ERs would be busier than this, but thank you, Jesus, that it was pretty empty, and I think they were pretty slow. So we both got put in separate rooms, but we both got put in like private rooms, and they hooked us up to oxygen, a pulse ox, and a heart monitor and blood pressure monitors. They came in and took how many vials of blood?
I think it was about 8 vials.
Yeah.
And I think it has something to do, and the doctors and nurses out there can probably tell us a lot more about that, but I think there's a way they can test your actual carbon monoxide levels in your blood, and that actually came out pretty good. I think the oxygen was very helpful.
Yeah.
The biggest problem was Colleen's blood pressure, which is also a symptom of carbon monoxide exposure. Her heart was racing and her blood pressure was pretty high.
Yeah. So, and they did an EKG on us, and that turned out okay. But they took our blood at about, I think around between 5 and 6. They released Sean because he was feeling fine. I don't even think you had a headache anymore.
No.
Yeah. Still coughing, but he was doing okay. The blood work came back. He was fine. So that was good. But at around 5:30, my blood pressure was 172. I'm sorry, over 108. They were not going to let me go at all. And my vision was bad. Like, I'm old. I can't see things up close. You know, the writing's blurry. That's normal. I have readers. But everything at a distance was just as blurry. And I don't know if that's due to such a high blood pressure affecting my eyesight, or was it the carbon monoxide affecting my eyesight? It could be either one. I don't know. But so they kept me for like 3 more hours until my blood pressure came down to like a normal level. They kept asking if I had high blood pressure, do I need my medicine? And I was like, no, my blood pressure is always really, really, really good. And that did not comfort them at all.
Yeah. And during that time, I was able to check on the cat in the truck. He was doing
Yes.
fine.
Thank goodness.
I was able to sit with Colleen, which was nice. They were very nice there. They did a great
Yes.
job.
Would I have liked to gotten my cat to the vet? Absolutely. But people first. And we needed to get checked out first. Our son and his wife do live in the area. We kept trying to call them while we were at the ER. It's 3:30 in the morning. Everybody has their phone on silent, so they didn't get the call. That's pretty normal. I think all in all, we saw 5 doctors because shift changes and everything. And every time a new doctor came in, I asked, like, did we do the right thing? Was coming into the ER the right thing? And every single one said absolutely. You don't know if your exposure is over the limit. You can't tell. So absolutely go in. Absolutely go get checked if you're exposed to carbon monoxide and you have any symptoms.
So only one of our 3 alarms went off, and we don't know for sure, but that one was the one that was lowest to the ground, and carbon monoxide tends to hug the ground first. And then as it fills up your trailer, it gets higher and higher. We had 3 of them in total, and they were all in good working order, all with new batteries and everything. But the hardwired one that's at the base of the island in the kitchen's the one that actually went off. There was another one, probably about 6 feet over from that in one of the slides, but it was a little higher up on the wall, maybe table height.
Yeah.
And then there's a third one in the bedroom, but it's on the ceiling, and that one to me doesn't seem like it's worth much, because if that much carbon monoxide fills up in your rig where it's hitting the ceiling, you're probably in deep trouble by then.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely.
So would those other ones have gone off eventually? They could have, but I wouldn't want to wait around for that to happen. So at least we had the one go off. And the hardwired ones are only good for 5 years, so make sure that you check your dates or whenever you bought your rig.
From date of manufacturer,
Yeah.
not from when it was put in the rig or when you bought your rig.
Yeah, it
From
could
the
be a
date
year
of
old.
manufacturer, yeah, it could be a
Yeah.
year old by the time you get it.
Yes.
And that's the black one that's on somewhere in your rig. Ours is on the island. Also, I want to mention too that um, in our situation, the guy had an onboard generator. Obviously, it was not maintained properly because it was putting out so much pollution, like visible pollution. Like I said, our rig was filled with thick smoke. But true carbon monoxide poisoning is odorless and colorless. You're not going to see it. So if you are at home or in your rig and you're starting to experience the symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning, please get outside, get to fresh air. Ask other people, like, are you getting a headache or are you getting tired for no reason? Like, get outside, get some fresh air, and I would turn off your propane at that point if that happens, or turn off your generator if you're running a generator, and seek medical attention. We'll also go over the symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning, which are lethargy, high blood pressure, heart racing, nausea, sometimes blurred vision,
sometimes vomiting,
a headache. We were coughing, I think, because it was such polluted air that was coming in. I don't know if you normally would cough from carbon monoxide poisoning, but if you are experiencing those symptoms, get outside, get to fresh air. When you think it's safe, come back in and open up all the windows, try to air out the place. Like I said, turn off your propane, turn off any generator, any appliance that's running on any kind of fuel, and seek medical help if you think you have carbon monoxide poisoning.
Well, when the biggest danger is when it's coming into your trailer and you're dead asleep like we were, only the alarm woke us up. So the biggest danger is that you're sleeping and you just go to sleep and never wake up. Once a concentration of carbon monoxide reaches about 30% in the air, you lose consciousness, and then you just simply never wake up unless you're rescued somehow miraculously. But
somebody else had experienced this within like the last 6 months. I saw it on Facebook, so I was like, oh, we need a backup carbon monoxide detectors. We had just gotten that like 5 months ago, not even that long ago. So, but it didn't go off. So what we've done is we've moved the one that we bought at Home Depot over to the island right next to the black one. And for right now, we're going to leave that there until we can get a higher quality carbon monoxide detector for a backup. But honestly, for $50, $60 to have a higher quality carbon monoxide detector, that's money well spent when it comes down to saving your life. And also, if you're going to get a backup carbon monoxide detector, which I highly recommend, make sure you have more than one smoke alarm as well. We have one that's just right outside the bathroom. It's like the highest point, which makes sense because smoke rises. But we also put one in our pass-through where our batteries are, just in case that ever catches on fire or anything electrical down there catches on fire. We might have an extra 30 seconds to get out of the RV. It's not, I don't think it's going to save our life. I know we're not going to be able to put out lithium battery fires. I know that. But if we get an extra 30 seconds, then maybe we can save the cat. Maybe we can get out in time. So please just like have backups of any safety equipment. Don't just have one fire extinguisher, have a few. I think we have, because I'm crazy, I think we have 9. But they're inside, they're outside. We have a fire blanket. I just, if this place goes up, it's going to be quick.
In reviewing the rules later, we found out that you're not even allowed to fire up a generator at all. And the reason for that is just because the units are so close together.
Yes.
So if you do have an onboard generator, just pay attention to that. Like she said, keep it maintained, so that it's not polluting excessively good ventilated area. There's also a device we heard about recently where it's an aftermarket device where on a motorhome you can redirect it through a pipe, and it releases more around your roof level so that the wind can kind of dissipate the fumes better.
And that is called, our friends Jazzy Pigs use it. It's the Genturi RV generator exhaust system. And what it does is it vents the exhaust up above the roof line of your RV so that as it's falling down, it dissipates quicker. And that just seems like it's a much safer way to, if you have an onboard generator, to vent your exhaust. And that, you know, if you don't have an onboard generator and you're just using a portable one, you still have to be very careful about how far away it is from the rig. Please be very mindful that it's not just your rig that you're protecting the exhaust from. It's the other rigs and other RVs around you.
Other than that, just make sure that you have fresh batteries in your carbon monoxide and smoke detectors. And we'd like to change them about every 6 months or so.
With the time change, you know, spring forward, fall back, we always put new batteries in. So maintain your equipment.
Make sure that you follow the park rules wherever you're at.
If you are exposed or you think you're exposed to carbon monoxide poisoning, please go get checked out. And if you don't feel like you can drive, go ahead and call 911 and have an ambulance come or the fire department come so they can evaluate you.
And you could come across a situation where you hear an alarm going off on another trailer. Don't just assume the people are okay. Go knock on their door. If there's no answer, you might want to consider calling 911 for them. Bang on the door if you need to. Do what you need to do. Look in the window. See if you see anyone down in there. Don't just assume that it's just a false alarm, because it may not be. They could have equipment inside their trailer that you can't hear. There might not be a generator. It could be some propane device that's malfunctioning or whatever and putting carbon monoxide off inside their trailer. I mean, there's lots of possibilities. Don't assume anything. Assume that if that alarm's going off, it could be something bad.
Yes, that's good advice. So we just wanted to tell you our story, and hopefully someone can learn from this, and it'll maybe save a life or prevent somebody operating their generator in a way that is unsafe or doesn't abide by the park rules. And we're just thankful to God that we were okay, because that was probably one of the most scary. It hit me like once we were out and in the parking lot and I started walking around trying to get fresh air, like how close we came to dying. I mean, I don't know, maybe it was 5 more minutes, maybe 10, I don't know. But that was just terrifying to think we were breathing all that in. And it was affecting us. And I'm just very thankful that we're both healthy and fine. And William, our cat, is healthy and fine. So we just hope that somebody can learn from this video. And thanks for watching.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.